Madam President, China is highly concerned with the developments in Syria. We call on various parties in Syria to exercise restraint and to avoid all forms of violence and more bloodshed. We hope the Syrian government will implement commitments to reform. We also hope that a Syrian-led and inclusive political process will be launched as soon as possible, so as to facilitate early easing of tension there. Madam President, the international community should provide constructive assistance to facilitate the achievement of those above-mentioned objectives. In the meantime, it should fully respect Syria's sovereignty, independence, and territorial integrity. Whether the Security Council will take further action on the question of Syria should depend on whether it facilitates the easing of tension in Syria, whether it helps the diffusion of differences through political dialogue, and whether it contributes to the maintenance of peace and stability in the Middle East. Most importantly, it should depend on whether it complies with the UN Charter and the principle of non-interference in internal affairs, because these principles have a bearing upon the security and survival of the developing countries, in particular those medium-sized and small countries, and these principles have a bearing on world's peace and stability. And the Chinese government's position on those questions has been consistent and firm. Based on these positions, China has all along positively and constructively participated in the consultations on relevant draft resolutions. Right now, the Security Council has 2 draft resolutions. One advocates respecting the sovereignty of Syria and resolving the crisis in Syria through political dialogue. China is supportive of this draft. With regard to the draft under consideration today, like quite a few Security Council members, China believes that under the current circumstances, sanction or threat of sanction does not help resolve the question of Syria. Rather, it may further complicate the situation. But regrettably and disappointingly, this major and legitimate concern did not get due attention from the sponsors. The draft resolution, as it stands now, focuses solely on exerting pressure on Syria and even threatening to impose sanctions, and does not help to facilitate the relaxation of the situation in Syria. Hence, China voted against this draft resolution. Madam President, Syria is an important country in the Middle East. The maintenance of peace and stability in Syria serves the common interests of the Syrian people and the international community. Along with the international community, China is willing to play a positive and constructive role in appropriately addressing and resolving the question of Syria. We will continue to support the mediation efforts of relevant countries in the region and organizations. Thank you, Madam President.
I thank the representative of China for his statement. I give the floor to the representative of Portugal.